Hi. Hi, everyone. How are you guys? It's been a while that I went live. I'm so happy to be here with you all. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me, if you can see me. And welcome to your Spirit Guided Life, where we talk all things spirit guides. And from how you can connect with them to how they can then help you discover your intuitive gifts, live your purpose, unlock success in your personal and professional life, and create the change you want to see in the world. Because that is what it means to live a spirit guided life. So yeah, you can hear me and see me. Great. Thank you for letting me know. Sammy, thanks. Katie, everyone, thank you so much. Yeah, I hope you are all well. Today is a special live edition because last week I sent out a survey asking you to let me know what your biggest questions about spirit guides are. And thank you for everyone who participated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it very much. So today I want to answer those questions for you and also give you a tiny sneak peek into what you can expect from my new program and community called Spirit Guide Society, which I will launch in just a few weeks, and I'm very excited about it. So if you are watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, please be sure to click the link in the description. It's somewhere in the middle, and come on over to Crowdcast because only here can you ask questions. It's very important. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, click the link in the description. It's somewhere in the middle. Click on it, come on over here so that you can ask your questions. I can't monitor like the chat on Facebook or YouTube, even though you can see me there. And then also, if you have any tech issues here on Crowdcast, then just reload the page, refresh your screen, and that usually solves any kind of problems that you might run into. So now let me introduce myself. My name is Yamile Yemoonyah, and I'm a spirit guide medium, an award-winning Hay House author, and a spiritual growth coach. And since my spirit guide physically appeared in my bedroom in the middle of the night over 20 years ago, I've helped thousands of spiritual seekers like you guys to connect with their spirit guides through readings and courses and workshops and my book, The 7 Types of Spirit Guide. Let me see if I have it here. Yes, I do. Here it is. This is what it looks like. You can get it anywhere. You can get books, Amazon, and anywhere else. And so, yeah, welcome everyone. Very happy to have you here today. All right, so let's get started. So please type your questions not in the chat, but in the Ask a Question section, which is like down there on your phone. It's like a little question mark button that you can click and type in your questions there. So not in the chat, but in the Ask a Question section, because in the chat it's going way too fast and I won't be able to keep up. Again, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, there's no Ask a Question section. You will have to come over to Crowdcast. The link is in the description. All right. So let's see. And don't be shy. Ask your questions. That's what we're here for. Oh, thank you, Katie. Katie says she loves my book. It's fab. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So Aiden has a question and asks, have you ever used tarot cards? If so, how do you use them to contact spirit guides? Yes, that's definitely possible. But I use tarot cards more in the sense that I connect with my guides. And then if I'm not sure if I can trust the answer, because really you can always trust the answer, but sometimes, and you all know this, we don't trust ourselves, and then we kind of rationalize things, and then we think, oh, maybe what I experienced wasn't real, and then you're unsure. So that's when I use tarot cards. So when I'm unsure, then I get tarot cards, and I say like, okay, so dear spirit guides, this is what I think you said. Can you clarify through the tarot cards? And then I pull one card or 3, sometimes but start with one. Let's forget about the 3, start with one, pull one card, and then see what it says. If that like kind of like resonates with what you thought like your spirit guide said before, great. That's like your answer. And do not then pull another one because you don't like the answer. Do not like think it's a completely different answer. It's always related to what was said before. And but when I say said, I mean like what you received through your intuition. So basically it's like a confirmation of like the message you received before. That's how I use that's how I use tarot cards when it comes to spirit guides. I hope that answers your question. Let me know. All right, so second question. Jenny wants to know, how can I be confident in my communication with spirit instead of believing things that aren't true? Projecting what I want to see, think, hear instead of what is true. So this is like a question that I get a lot. And the answer is somewhat complicated and is not like that easy to just answer in one sentence, but I'll try to get into it. First of all, you need to really know what you're doing. You need to know like, you need to have the technique, the know-how, the knowledge, the skill to communicate with your guides, because it's a skill like any other, just like playing the piano. If you learn to play the piano, you're not very good at it in the beginning, but you become better with time and with practice. So you need to like learn the technique, then practice. And when I say practice, that's like literally like practice just you would play the piano. You do it once a week or more if you have the time. And that doesn't mean that it has to be complicated. It doesn't mean that you have to spend hours doing it. You just have to practice your own intuition, and you have to practice trusting your own intuition, because really, like, everyone can communicate with their guides. It's just that we, like I said in the beginning, we don't trust what we get. Like, we get something, and because sometimes it doesn't come always as like a booming voice from heaven that tells you exactly, so now you are going to do this and now you're going to do that. It's more like it comes through your intuition. Your guides work with your intuition. And so sometimes it just comes as a feeling or like a visual or just numbers that you see on number plates or whatever it is. It can come in various forms. And oftentimes then we see it, we know like that's, oh my God, my spirit guide just sent me that sign. But then we rationalize it away. We're like, oh, maybe I just made it up. Oh, maybe that wasn't true. Or maybe I misinterpreted it. And that is the real problem. This like not trusting your own perception, your own intuition, your own skills in communicating with your guides. So first you need to learn how to do it. Then you need to learn to trust your guides, and that comes with, and yourself, that comes with practice. And so, yeah, just like again, if you played the piano, you wouldn't just go and play in front like of an audience after a week, right? So because you don't trust your own skills enough. So it's the same thing. You practice, and then you can go out and play in front of an audience. And so it's the same thing. Like, you need to gain the confidence, and you only gain confidence through practice. And that's one of the reasons why I'm starting Spirit Guide Society, because I've been doing like courses and workshops and stuff, and I can teach you the techniques and the how-to and all that, but then you go home and you've never really actually practiced it beyond like that workshop or course, and then that confidence isn't there, and then yeah, it's kind of lost. So that's why I want to start Spirit Guide Society, where I will give you weekly exercises on top of the course that you will also get. So I hope that answers your question a little bit. Next question is, hold on. So Mary Lane wants to know, how can I receive answers from my spirit guides? Again, that's about like learning the technique, how to connect with your guides. First, you learn how to create the space, because it's kind of like creating sacred space. And then you learn like how to first feel your own energy, because if you don't know what your own energy feels like, then you don't know what it's like if your guide actually comes into your space. You wouldn't even know. So first you you learn how to create your sacred space. Then you learn what it feels like to be in your sacred space and just have your own energy in there. And once you will get used to that, then you invite your guide into your space, and you will feel when they come in, because they have what mediums call a calling card, and you will feel that they are there. You will physically feel that they are around you. And that can come through different ways. Like some people, like I did when I was a bit younger, I would see them physically, but that's usually not the case. That's very, very rare. And you don't want to be honest, because most people get scared when that happens. But so the more usual calling cards are like just a feeling that someone is there, or you get really hot, or you get really cold, or you feel you could feel like as if someone is doing this, or you could your heart starts going faster. So there's different like calling cards, and that's again practice. And then once you get used to like being your guide close to you, like in that sacred space, and just sit with them without asking them anything, without wanting anything, just sit with them and getting used to their energy without getting nervous and thinking, oh my God, am I doing it right? Or is this like really my guide? Or is this like a bad spirit? Once like all that stuff, you work through all that stuff, then you can start asking questions. And then you ask questions. I teach a way where you ask your guide to step in and out of your sacred space. And then you basically tell your guide, so, okay, if the answer is no to my question, then step out of my sacred space. If the answer is yes, then step into my sacred space. And so then you can ask yes and no questions. And then once you learn that, again, practice, then you can start asking more open-ended questions. And then you can receive the answers. That's how it goes. That's how it works. That's how I teach it. So I hope that helps you a little bit. Again, once I open Spirit Guide Society, there will be a course in there that teaches all of this step by step. Okay, thank you for your question. Mercedes wants to know who are my spirit guides. I'm not doing readings today, so I won't be able to answer that question, but thank you for asking. And then Alexandra wants to know how to ask a question. That was just answered. Same thing, like that technique. First, you create the sacred space. Then you learn to invite your guide into the space. Then you learn to answer yes and no questions by having them like go in and out of your space. And then you can ask more open-ended questions. And you can all do this at home. You can just start basically by just like a normal meditation, and you create a sacred space around you by connecting to the earth, connecting to the universe, and then creating kind of like from your third chakra, you visualize a yellow sun that goes out and becomes bigger and bigger and bigger until it creates a space around you that you're sitting in. And why the third chakra? Because that's your power center. So you're basically building like a power place around you, a sacred power center around you. And that is also for protection, because that's how you make sure that like no spirits come in that are not, that don't have your best interest at heart. Yeah, and then you, so then you are in the space, you ask your guide to come in, you can ask them questions, yes and no, they can step in and out. And then later on, you can ask more open-ended questions. All right, thank you for asking your question. Then here's someone without a name. And the question is, can spirit guides be from other planets and galaxies? Yes, they can. In fact, that's the ones that I call star beings. And like I said, like I wrote this book, The 7 Types of Spirit Guide. And one of the types of spirit guide are star beings. So in the book, I have a whole chapter just about like star beings and what they exactly are, and why they work with you, what it says about you that they work with you, what their gifts are, what their challenges are, and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested, you can definitely read more about that. So most people on the internet and most people that talk about spirit guides teach that spirit guides are humans that have passed and are helping us from the other side. I think that's like way too westernized, because if we really look around the world and all the different spiritual traditions and all the different cultures, there are mediums, shamans, witches, priests, and other spirit workers that work, and everyday people that work with spirit guides that are not humans. Obviously, the one, for example, is angels. Angels are very well known also in the Western world, and they also help us on our spiritual path. So they are also spirit guides. So that's one type. Then we have nature spirits. A lot of like shamans, for example, work with nature spirits or with animal guides, for example. That's like two more types of spirit guide. And they can also help us on our spiritual path, and therefore are spirit guides. And so in the book, I really talk about like these 7 different types of guides. And so really quickly, it's like ancestors. So that's like the past humans. Usually these are not like your grandmother, because especially, well, sometimes, but if your grandmother was alive at the same time that you were alive, then she cannot be your main guide. She can be a guide. She can still be around you. She can help you, but she cannot be your main guide, because your main guide is with you from birth until death. And so, yeah, so usually when it's an ancestor, it's like one from further back. Then we have ascended masters. These are also humans, or were humans, but they don't reincarnate anymore because they have reached what we call enlightenment. And so they don't reincarnate anymore. And they usually work with groups of people, not just one. So an ancestor, also works with groups of people, but like their descendants specifically. Whereas ascended masters work with like more like spiritual traditions. Let's say, for the really famous examples are Jesus, Muhammad, and Buddha, for example. And they obviously work with like bigger crowds. Then we have animal guides. I already mentioned those. They work a lot with like shamanic people, but also with athletes or anyone who's like very uses their body a lot. They are often connected to animal guides. Also, people that do something that has to do with like being a guardian sometimes, like police people, military people, that kind of thing. Sometimes have animal guides. And they really help us to like fully be present in our physical environment and really be here on Earth, and not be off in the clouds all the time. So they are really helpful also for people, for example, who have issues with their body in some way, shape, or form, because they can help you to bring you back into your body and really like see your body as your friend instead of your enemy. So yeah, and then we have nature spirits. Mentioned them as well. They often work with healers, especially the healers that work with herbs or homeopathy or something like physical. Massage therapists, for example, sometimes. And they help a lot with like, again, also like being fully present in the physical realm, and they help us interact with nature, and they help us manifest the things that we want in our lives, because that's what they do. They are the ones that create nature in a sense. And then we have we're at number 4 now, I think. Then we have let me see, deities. So that's gods and goddesses. There in the Western world, the most well-known ones are the ones from like ancient Greece and Rome, but obviously there are deities from all around the world, different cultures, different spiritual traditions. A lot of them have been forgotten. That doesn't mean that they're not around. They can still help us. And so sometimes we just don't know their names, and that's fine. And they are very much about like helping us step into our power, realize our own power, become leaders. And when I say leader, that doesn't mean that you have to be like the president of your country or whatever. You can be the leader of your family. You can be the leader of your community. You can be the leader of like whatever, your friends. And you don't always have to be the leader all the time. You can just be sometimes in certain situations. But we all are here, especially this group. We are here to make a difference in the world. And so in that sense, you are a leader. And so that's what deities help us do, to step into our power, to step up, to lead. And then we have star beings. I mentioned these already. And then I forget one. Now I have to look it up myself. Give me 1 second. If someone knows, let me know in the chat. I know I forgot one. No, I think I mentioned them all. So deities, ancestors, ascended masters, nature spirits, animal guides, star beings, and angels. Yeah. So these are the 7 types of spirit guide. I hope that answers your questions. Thank you. Right. So Sammy wants to know, what is it that my spirit guides need me to know? I keep seeing 1111, 1011, 711, these angel numbers. What are they trying to tell me? So yeah, angel numbers. I know like everyone knows them as angel numbers because of back in the day it was Doreen Virtue. Nowadays it's Kyle Gray who called them angel numbers. But really they are not restricted to angels. Any kind of spirit guide can send you these. And what I always say about it is like, when you see them, do not immediately run to your phone and start looking up what it means. What you want to do instead is hold off for a second, just close your eyes and just focus on what is it that you think it means in that moment. What is like the feeling that you get from seeing it? And write that down, be it in your phone or like use a voice note or video or whatever is easier for you. Record it, put it down, like, oh, like this really made me feel like I'm on the right path. This really made me feel like, I don't know, like that business idea that I was just thinking about. Then you see the number, then you think, oh, I think that was the right idea. I should really go for it. Write that down, record it, because that you need to like trust. That's how you start trusting your intuition and your spirit guides. Because if you, every time you see these numbers, you have something like this, some kind of intuition, what it means. And if you don't trust that, and then immediately go to your phone and think like, oh, someone else like who's an expert knows much better what it means than me, then you kind of like dilute your intuition and you look it up and then you go with that, or you realize, yeah, that's not really the answer. And then you start Googling even more and like seeing, oh, what does this person say? What does that person say? And then you completely lose the message. So really stick with what you think it means to you in that moment. And then sit with that for a little bit. And then if you want to, you can go on the internet and look it up, what other people have to say about it, or in a book or whatever. Or even better, like go to tarot cards, pull a card. First, you record what you think it is and trust yourself. Like, please learn to trust yourself. Then pull a tarot card and see how the tarot card like explains that a bit more. How does it give you like more information about your interpretation of that number? And then go to the internet and see if there's anything that adds to this. But if you see something that, let's say in a book or on the internet, that contradicts what you think, trust yourself more than the internet, please. This is like really, really important. So, but generally, if you see numbers and it doesn't matter which ones, it means that like your spirit guides are around and want you to know that you're on the right path. That's the short answer. All right. Thank you for your question, Sammy. Let me just check the chat if there was anything that I missed. Yeah, Jonathan says, when I pull another tarot card after I get an unpleasant one, it tends to confirm the first one. Yeah, exactly. I would say do not even pull another one, because you're just mistrusting like the information that you get, and you're diluting your own confidence. It's not helpful. But yeah, I'm glad that it always confirms like the things that are being said. Also, tarot cards, if you're like afraid of like getting unpleasant ones, then use oracle cards. Oracle cards do not have any unpleasant cards. Tarot cards can tell you things like, yes, you're on the wrong path, or they can tell you there is difficult times coming. I like them because of that, because then you can be ready. You can see, oh, like maybe money is going to be tight over the next year. So now I can make a plan to work with that, instead of just like not wanting to see it. Can Semi asked, can star beings show themselves to you? I don't know if you mean me specifically or in general, but yes, of course they can. Just looking at, oh, thank you, Katie. She put all the different types in the chat. And Maria says, by trusting ourselves, we are also inviting the unconscious to work with us. Exactly. All right, so moving on to the next question. Katie wants to know, well, she says, struggling to connect to my guides recently. I've been meditating within my sacred space and asking for the connection, but there feels like a real disconnect. Any tips would be greatly appreciated. So sometimes, Katie, this is just because our energy is readjusting to a higher frequency. Or let me stop here. Sometimes, yes, sometimes our energy is like readjusting to a higher frequency, and then you're kind of like, it's kind of like with your phone. Sometimes you're somewhere and you just don't have great reception, and there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with the phone. It's just like not great reception in that place, and you just have to be patient until like you are somewhere else, and then it works great. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. The other possibility is that your guides want you to rely more on yourself and trust yourself more, and not rely on them for every little question you have. And so then they can stay silent and not like give you so much guidance and help, so that you start trusting yourself, relying on yourself, and living your life independently a little bit. So these are usually the two reasons why you feel you're not connected. It's never that you are blocked. I get that so many times, that people come to me and say like, oh, I'm blocked. No, you're not blocked. No one is blocked. No one can be disconnected from their spirit guides. So these are usually the two reasons why there might be like temporary disconnect. So just have some patience. In the meantime, just rely on yourself, work with yourself, work on your confidence, work on trusting your own intuition, and it will come back. Don't worry. All right, so next. Kirsty wants to know, I asked my spirit guide's name and I had the name Cecilia come into my head. Great, awesome. Now, when I think about the name, I always get the Cecilia song in my head. Am I imagining it? No, that just means that, okay, now you have the name. it's Cecilia. And when you hear the song, that means that your guide is around. It's kind of like their sign. It's kind of like there, hey, I'm here. So if you hear the song Cecilia outside of you or inside your own head, pay attention, because your guide is saying, hey, I'm here, pay attention. I'm sending you a message right in this moment. So pay attention to what's happening around you. Maybe someone is having a conversation about something that's important to you. Maybe you're like in a coffee shop on your phone, not paying attention. Next to you, people are talking about a book that could really help you. So pay attention to what's happening around you. And if there's nothing there, then also pay attention to what's happening inside of you. Did you just have a really great idea, but don't believe in yourself? For example, oh, I have this idea for a business, and then you talk yourself out of it. And then you hear the song, and then that's like your guide saying, hey, stop it. Believe in yourself. This is a good idea. Go with it. So, or maybe you're thinking about your family member. Should I give that person a call? And then you hear the song. Yes, go and call that person. That's it. That's how easy this is. Like, just if you meditate, you want to know your guide's name, just like quiet your mind as much as you can. It's not like you have to stop your mind from thinking. That's just not possible. That's just like, that's not how it works. Just like to calm down as much as possible, meditate for a little bit so that you're in a quiet, calm state. Then ask your guide for their name. You can say it out loud or just inside your own head. And then the first name that pops into your head, that's it. It's that simple. And then just trust it. Don't ask yourself if you're imagining things. You're not. And even if you were, it doesn't matter, because even if her name wasn't really Cecilia, because let's be honest, like angels, for example, they're not humans. They don't need names. They don't actually have wings that they use to fly around the universe, right? I mean, if we really think about it, that's kind of ridiculous. So, but they show themselves with wings so that we understand, oh, this is an angel. They do this for us. So that it's easier for us to connect with them. And it's the same with the names. They don't have names like we humans do. They have like energy patterns and energy signatures that you can recognize if you like train yourself to do that. But they give us a name, so it's easier for us, because we as humans are so focused on these things like names and what they look like and when they lived on Earth and these kinds of things. So they give us something to help us really understand. And so even if it's not really their name, they will be fine with it, believe me. And then if you never get a name and you really, really want one, come up with one. Just invent one. They will be fine with it. Trust me. So yeah. So, but in this case, like, you got Cecilia and now you also have the song. That's great. Go with it. Perfect. Trust yourself. All right, so next question comes from Annabelle, and it's a very related question. Hey, how do I know it's not me in my head and not my guide? And I think I've answered this question like in different ways a few times already. Excuse me. And really, again, it's about like practice. It's about building your own confidence. It's about developing your intuition so that you can trust your own intuition and you have the confidence to trust in yourself. And then it's about practice. And then with practice, you will see the difference with time. You will see when you are going into like fantasy land and when you can really, when it's real. It's just a different feeling. It's a different, it's a different feeling. And it's really just, it's hard to describe it. And it's like different for everyone. That's why really there is no one sentence answer that I can give you, because it's about practice. And again, that's why I was a little bit frustrated, like teaching my courses and my workshops, because yes, then you have the theory, but you don't actually have the practice that gives you that confidence. And then you're still like sitting at home and saying, oh, I can't connect with my guides, but you can, but it's just like that you don't trust it. You don't trust that you are actually connected, because then you're like brain comes in and says like, yeah, but what if I'm just making it up, and then it's all for nothing. So I want to help you guys like really like get that confidence, and that can only happen if you practice on a regular basis, which is why I'm going to start Spirit Guide Society, where you get like weekly practices, and they're not going to be complicated. It doesn't take you an hour to do them. It's like little things that you can do during your, like while you are going about your day, and just do little fun exercises. And for example, let's see, if you're someone who works in a call center, then you can practice your intuition by, for example, just guessing who's going to be the next person. Is it going to be a male or a female? And then you like get the next person on the phone, and then just have a little scorecard and see like how you do over time. And you will see that over time you will get better. And the better you get, the more you will trust your intuition. And then you can make it a bit more complicated. Like, for example, if you talk to people in different cities or states or countries, then you can ask yourself, oh, where in the world is this person? And then you can just start with continents, for example. Oh, this person is in the US, or this person is in Europe, or this person is in Australia. And then again, have a little scorecard. If you see people on a regular basis, let's say you're a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, like you see people physically, then you can, for example, ask yourself, what color is this person wearing today, like their sweater or their pants or whatever. And again, like it's easy to like start practicing these things in a playful way. And the more you do it, the more you trust yourself, and that will help you immensely when it comes to like more complicated things like connecting with your guides. So yeah, that's my answer. Just checking the chat. Yes, Aiden. Numbers are usually signs from your spirit guides. Right. So Kim wants to know, can you ask your guides to help someone else? Yes and no. Like, when I studied shamanism, I was taught that you should never send your spirit guides out to other people to help, because they have their own guides. But what you can do is ask your guide, or tell your guide that you want to send that person energy or help, or and then they can go to their guides, and kind of like as if you were sending someone a gift, only you do it like via your guide. So you give your gift to the guide goes to the other guide, and that guide gives it to them. And in that way, like, you're not interfering with them. You are not like messing with their energy, because sometimes people do not want to be helped, and they just need to find their own way. So this is the way that I was taught to do it, and that's how I do it. And this is the same question again. Let me delete that real quick. Indy wants to know how to talk to your spirit guides. Again, that process that I teach in my courses, I can't, like, there's not the scope to like explain all of it. But again, basically, you create the space around you by connecting to the earth, connecting to the universe, creating your space around you from your power center, from your third chakra. You kind of like let it grow so that it creates a bubble around you. You can also visualize locks around it, or like protect it in some way if you're worried about that, or add an extra layer, a protection layer. You can ask your guardian angels to come and stand guard, whatever you need to feel safe. And then you ask your guide to come into your space, and then you first sit with your guide. Do not ask any questions, and this can take like a few days or weeks until you calm down, because usually when people try to connect with their guides, they get all nervous. They already start like, oh my god, what if I'm making it up, or what if I'm what if this is like not a real guide. Just sit with their guide until like all these emotions and thoughts calm down. And again, that can take a few days or even weeks. For some people it takes months, because like there's so much like buildup of like thoughts and emotions. Let that calm down, work through that until you can like keep calm, even though you feel like a presence next to you. Then you start asking questions. And then you can ask your guide yes and no questions by letting them like step in and out of your space. And by the way, before I open Spirit Guide Society, I will do another live. It will be a workshop, and I will teach you guys like this process so that you understand how to do it. And we will do a Spirit Guide ceremony together. So keep an eye out like for your emails, for emails from me, and make sure that you come to that. And yeah, so because then I will teach it exactly. Like I said, I don't have the time here, but then we will do it together so you understand how it works. All right, so next question. Again, Lillian, sorry, I'm not doing spirit guide readings today, so I can't tell you about your guide or their messages. Okay, so here's someone without the name again. How do we contact our ancestors since we have so many reincarnations? Who is the right one to contact? When you want to connect with your ancestors, it's not about connecting one specific ancestor. It's about connecting your ancestors in general. Especially, it's kind of tricky because a lot of people do want to connect with a specific ancestor that they but the thing is, like, oftentimes our ancestors were humans, so they have like good traits, not so good traits, and characteristics that were helpful and characteristics that were not so helpful. You don't always know everything about them, about their personality. You don't know their secrets and their darker secrets and all that stuff. So you don't want to ask the wrong people for help, basically. And so what I learned is to, like, if you want to connect with your ancestors, you ask your well-seated ancestors. That's how some people call it, or I call it like the council of elders. And they are the ones that are like highly developed. So you ask for the highly developed ancestors instead of just random ancestors. And you ask them to connect with you and to help you with whatever you need help or guidance for. And that way you are sure that you get like the best help and the best guidance that you can get. So that's my answer for this. This is an interesting question. Jilm85 wants to know, while trying to connect with my guides, I had a vision that literally had me running into a closed door, shutting closed in my face so hard that I broke my trance. What happened? I can't tell you exactly what happened because I wasn't there, but it's interesting. There's different possibilities. One is that maybe in your life at that point while you were doing this, you were trying to like push something through that wasn't supposed to happen, whatever that was. And so your guides basically gave you a visual answer, as in like, stop running in that direction. Turn around, see if there are other like options that you haven't thought about, and see what's a better way for you. Just saying that sounds like My intuition tells me that's probably what it is. Are there other options? No, I'm pretty sure that's it. Let me know if that makes sense in the comments. But that's what I'm getting intuitively. All right, next one. Claire wants to know, can a relative who passed during your lifetime become a spirit guide for you? They cannot be your main guide, but they can definitely be around and helping you. So, of course, like parents, siblings, friends, when they pass away, they are around you. Of course they are. And of course they can help you. Just be aware that they are, just because they like died does not mean that they're suddenly all knowing, and like it does not mean that they're suddenly have no limitations, or if they were like, let's say, really impatient in life, then they are still impatient on the other side. So do not make the mistake to think that they can help you with things that they wouldn't have been able to help you with before, if that makes sense. But yes, they can definitely be around and help you, and in that sense be a spirit guide. They just can't be your main guide. All right. Aiden says, I believe I'm psychic, but I have a really hard time following my intuition. How would I go about using my gift? First of all, I personally don't like to call it a gift, even though sometimes I do, but I don't like that term very much, because then it makes it sound like people that have that skill are somehow above others, and I don't like that, because everyone has some kind of like amazing skills, and being psychic is not better than, I don't know, being an amazing lawyer, or I don't know, being a great artist, or whatever it is. But so I call it a skill, but that's just me. It's about, like, again, very simple practice. You need to like go sign up for some course, workshop, come join us at like Spirit Guide Society. That's how it worked for me, basically. When I realized, oh, okay, I'm psychic, I have these abilities, I started doing workshops and classes, and in these classes, because you get like to practically do exercise all the time, and then you get the feedback, or you realize, oh yeah, I'm actually right, I can trust my intuition. The more you do that, the more confidence you get, and then you are ready to go. That's how it works. It's actually really simple. I hope that helps. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom of the questions. Lillian wants to know, can our guides administer healing to us and physically affect us? For instance, like a shove or push to your skeletal frame. Yes, they can. It doesn't happen very often, in the sense that you literally feel a push or something. But for some people, that's how they experience it. Because, and this goes back to the Claire's, and also, yeah, so some people, everyone experiences like their communication with their spirit guides differently. Some people experience it like visually, like I used to see guides like physically. I haven't done that in a long time, because I don't need it anymore. I know I can trust my intuition. But other people are more like, for example, they feel their spirit guides emotionally. For example, like they feel a wave of love coming, and that's like their sign that their spirit guides are close. Other people are more physically feeling their guides. So in that sense, yes, then you could literally feel them, like as if someone's putting a hand on your shoulder, or like touching your cheek, or yeah, for example, there are definitely a lot of stories of people who have been helped in difficult situations, let's say car accidents and stuff, and or like carjacking or something like this. And then sometimes like their guide will literally push them out of the way, so to save their lives. And so yes, that's definitely possible, absolutely. And then also they can definitely heal. And you can feel that a lot of healers work with spirit guides on a conscious or unconscious level, and the ones that do it on a conscious level can oftentimes feel their guides come into the room and work through them. So the healer does not work with their own healing energy. They're just like the medium, the conduit. Excuse me. And the guide sends their energy through the healer into the patient. So yes, absolutely. Here's a question that's probably the second most asked question. So I want to answer that. And Desi wants to know, can not so good spirits connect with us and give us bad advice? Absolutely. And I do not want to like scare anyone, but just like there are humans who don't have your best interest at heart, there are also spirits out there that don't have your best interest at heart. That does not mean that you should like not try to connect with them, because in life you don't sit at home all day just because you know there are like people out there that do bad things. You still go out there, you still live your life, you still have fun, and you still just do your thing. And so it's the same with like these bad spirits. You can still connect with your guides, you just take precautions. Just like when you're at home, you go to bed, you lock your door, right? Everyone does that. Or when you leave your car somewhere, you lock the car. So you take precautions to make sure that these like bad people, bad spirits don't have a chance to interfere with you. And so that's what you do on a spiritual, psychic, mediumistic level. That's why I said before you even try to connect with your guides, you need to learn how to create that safe space around you, because otherwise you're kind of like just not protecting yourself, like not locking the door. And it's just better if you know how to lock the door before you go out and into the spirit world. So yes, there are definitely not so good spirits out there, and they can give you bad advice. The other thing that you need to do, so besides like learning how to protect yourself, and you can just go on the internet and like just Google protecting yourself, and there's a million different ways that you can do it. I teach a very specific way, but there's a million other ways. Pick one that works for you. All is good. But the other thing, now I lost my thought. Oh yeah, so the other thing is that just like with people, again, you do not just like get to know someone and then invite them immediately into your house. You first get to know someone, you think like, oh, this is a nice person, then maybe you meet them for coffee somewhere in a coffee shop and you talk, and then you think, oh, okay, like this person, I really like this person, they're nice, they seem trustworthy, so I will like trust them to a certain extent. And then next time you might, I don't know, meet them somewhere else and or spend more time with them. And so you build that trust over time, right? You don't immediately open your heart and your home to complete strangers that you don't know. And so it's the same with the spirits. Take one step at a time. Do not immediately ask them for like for help with your biggest problems in life. Ask them about little things. Get to know them slowly. Check out their energy. See what like the advice is that they give you. If it's good and it helps you, then take the next step. Extend that trust a little bit, but don't immediately just like go like, yay, I want to know like what my purpose is and I'll do everything that you say. That's just not like a good idea. So learn to protect yourself, build trust over time. That's my advice about bad spirits. And here's another question. Can you have different spirit guides at the same time in a lifetime? Are they the same guides in the next? Thank you. Yes, we don't all have a team of spirit guides, not just one. We have different spirit guides. We have a main guide that's actually, we have like usually a few more, 2, 3 main guides that are with us from start to finish of our lives. And then you have what I call the experts, and they are the ones that come and go. And so they can be, for example, you're going through a divorce and an angel comes in to help you through that difficult time, to like help heal your heart and all that kind of thing. And then once you're fine, they leave again and someone else comes in for the next phase when you start a new job or whatever it is. So yes, we can have different spirit guides at the same time in this lifetime. And some of them will go with you over several lifetimes and some won't. It's a little bit like friendships. So some friends like you will see again in your next lifetime, and some are just like for a year in this lifetime and then you go your separate ways. So yeah, the relationships with spirit guides in general are very much like friendships in our human world. Really, you can just go by that. If you have a question about spirit guides, just ask yourself, how would I approach the situation with a friend? All right, let me check the time. Okay, we have to go soon. Let me see. Loyata wants to know if you haven't connected with your guides in a while, does it become more difficult, or do your guides leave or become distant? No, they don't. You can just as easily connect. I'm going through the questions a bit faster. Okay, a few questions I kind of already answered, so I'll skip over them. Natasha says, in your book, you say that it's okay to ask everything to your spirit guides. But since I was raised in a Christian church, I have a lot of difficulty doing that because I think it's selfish of me. Can you help me overcome this guilty feeling? So I have not been raised Christian or religious at all. I have never had this problem. I know that like quite a few people in my audience have this. And I can only theoretically answer this in the sense that I would probably start journaling about this. Like, really, what is it exactly that the Christian church has taught me that tells me that it's selfish to ask for something that I want? Why is it a bad thing to take care of my own needs? And then really write it out, even if it sounds silly to you, your answers, or if it sounds like something you wouldn't want to share with anyone else. Maybe you think it's silly or stupid or selfish or whatever. Just write it all out. And every time you write something, you have a statement, ask yourself again, why do I think this? Why do I think it's selfish to want a nice car, for example? Why is it selfish to want a nice house? And then you write down, because other people on the other side of the world have it so bad. And then you can ask, how is this helping people on the other side of the world if I don't have a nice house, or if I don't have money? Maybe, and then you can write like, if I have money, I can actually help more people. And so like just unravel like these thoughts for yourself. And also talk to other people who have similar thought patterns. I don't want to call it problems because they're not problems, but thought patterns that like are a bit in their way. Find other people that have the same experience and talk it through with them. Because I know there's a lot of people like this. Also, there's a book by Carmel Joy Baird, I think. Let me write that down in the chat for you. And she is a medium, and she, I think, had that same problem. And also, Long Island medium, Teresa Caputo, she is Christian and she's a medium at the same time. So she works with spirit guides and she's Christian and it works for her. So find people like that, follow them on Instagram or wherever you are, and just like see how they deal with that. And then that will give you like ideas to get around that. Is there anything else I can say about this? Generally, like, this is just from me, I think that the more it's kind of like when you're on the plane. So on the plane they tell you, like, if there's no oxygen, the oxygen is low, like the masks come down, they tell you put your mask on first and then help the people next to you. Because if you don't have oxygen and you pass out, then you can't help anyone. And so it's the same thing with this. Like, if you ask for things that make your life better, that like if you take care of your own needs, then you are in a position to help others and to help them get their needs met. If you are lacking, if you are living in a state of lack, then how are you going to help anyone else? That's my answer, I would think. I hope that helps a little bit. Here's a good question. Jonathan asks, why do you think spirit guides help us humans? If they are former humans like ancestors and ascended masters, it makes sense. But angels, nature spirits, and star beings seems a little too easy to anthropomorphize. Yes, I totally understand where you're coming from. And the thing is, not all spirits help us. Not all spirits are spirit guides, just like not all humans are willing to help other humans or animals or other beings that need help. Some humans are just like selfish and just really think about themselves. And so there are also spirits that don't care about humans. Of course, there are spirits like that. And it's not even that they're evil or bad. They just have other stuff going on. And so what makes spirit guides different from general spirits is that they want to work in a team of like different kinds of beings to raise the vibration of the universe, if you will. And so they connect to like humans that also want to do this. And so that's why spirit guides want to help humans. And it's not just a one-way street. It's not like spirit guides just help us and we don't have to do anything and they just bring us like the Ferrari way that we want. It's like we kind of like help them too, because they are not incarnated. They can't make any they can't influence the physical world, but they can through us. So if we work with them and they, for example, their agenda, that sounds negative, their intentions for what they are doing is, for example, to star beings, for example, oftentimes want to connect like their star system with Earth so that kind of like energy tunnel is created and so that energy can flow back and forth. And so if a star being connects with us, we both work on like creating that tunnel, and that helps them just as much as it helps us. And so that's why they want to help. Yes, we are a conduit, definitely. Mercedes wants to know if spirit guides can appear in your dreams. Absolutely, totally, completely, very common. Is the book Opening to Channel helpful for someone who just started learning how to connect with spirit guides? Yeah, it's a good book, definitely. I read it. Yeah, there's definitely some good stuff in there. Brittany wants to know, how can I know what type of spirit guide I have? That's very simple. Either you take my quiz that's on my website. I'll put my website in the chat. There you go. You can go to my website, take the quiz, answer 11 questions, and it will tell you which type of spirit guide you have. The other option is to get my book. Again, there's a quiz in there as well. It's an extended quiz, so it's a longer quiz and more in-depth quiz than on my website. And also it has a chapter on every single spirit guide and explains like who they are, how to connect with them, how to what gifts they bring, what challenges they bring, what it says about you that you have that guide. And then the last part of the book explains the exact process, how to connect with spirit guides and how to create a spirit guide ceremony for yourself that is personalized to your type of spirit guide. And so, yeah, that's another way. And then the third way, and I shouldn't say this, but it's actually the best way, is to just trust your own intuition. Like, which type of guide do you feel most drawn to? Which one has your interest? Which one appears again and again and again in your life in different ways? That's the best way to know what type of spirit guide you have. Sammy says, if you see images of faces when you close your eyes going to sleep, what is that all about? I mean, it's almost like looking at a short movie. Didn't know if that means something. It usually means that you have mediumistic abilities. It's one of like the things that a lot of mediums experience, especially before they realize that they're mediums. So it's like these flashing faces, oftentimes really, really fast, and you don't know the faces. They just keep going. These are spirits. These are spirits that are like kind of like saying hello, and they're showing you, hey, you can see us, do something with this. That's what it means. Very simple. So do something about it, take a class, especially obviously I would be happy to have you in Spirit Guide Society, but also maybe take a specific class for mediumship. There's one by Hay House, Gordon Smith. He was one of my mentors. And if you go to hayhouse.com or one of the Hay Houses, look for courses, look for Gordon Smith, look for Spirit Guides Made Easy, I think it's called. I think it's $60 or $70. And yeah, that's a good one. And then you can also just get books by mediums, like John Holland has some good books. Just go on Amazon and see which books resonate with you, and especially read their biographies. Usually their first book is like half a biography and half like how they do it, or yeah, but the biography part is really important because it will show you a lot of these things, because they talk about exactly these kinds of things, and you will recognize, oh yeah, I saw that, or oh, yeah, that happened to me. And that gives you like that confidence again, that oh yeah, maybe I really have psychic abilities. Maybe I can trust that I can do this. Maybe I am really a medium. So that's what made a huge difference for me when I started. All right, so I think I got most of the questions. And others are very specific. So yeah, so let's see, was there anything else in the chat? Katie, I will release the group deets in a few weeks. But yeah, if you're interested to learn more about like how you can develop your intuition so you can use it to connect and communicate with your spirit guides in a safe environment and without constantly wondering if you are just imagining things, then you might be interested to hear that, like I said earlier, I will soon launch like this new program and community called Spirit Guide Society. And as a member, you will get a course that teaches you a step-by-step process you can use to connect with your guides. And then you will get safe, simple, easy to do weekly exercises that will strengthen your intuition and help you develop that trust in your experiences and enable you to advance your spirit guide communication skills. And you can sign up for the wait list by clicking on the green button, like that's right down below. And then you will be notified when Spirit Guide Society opens its doors. And if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, you do not see the green button, but there's a link in the description. It's like at the end of the description, there's a link to the wait list for Spirit Guide Society so that you can click on it and get on the wait list. And I will also put the link here in the chat in Crowdcast. Here it is, just to make sure. And then pay attention to like emails and videos from me over the next few weeks, because there will be more information about this. And then I will also do a workshop where I will teach you or do a spirit guide ceremony with you, so you understand how this works. And then I will open Spirit Guide Society in a few weeks, and I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon.